How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Facebook Live Ask Admissions. My name is Jordan Stevenson. I'm the Director of Student Recruitment, and we have some very special guests with us tonight. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and then we'll get to our news from the nest.
Hi, everyone. My name is Krista Fry. I'm an Assistant Director of Career Advising and Planning in the Department of Career Planning and Development.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anna Beta, and I'm the Executive Director within Enrollment Services over the Department of Career Planning and Development and over Orientation and Transition Programs. Good to be with you.
Awesome. No, it's great. And you all know me. My name is Jacinta Lester. I'm the Manager of Admissions for Special Populations. How smooth was that?
Oh, that was the best. I think that's the best she's ever done it. Well done. We did just have her performance evaluation today, so she's used to saying her title. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think we said it at all. Also, I have to give a disclosure, okay? I'm so sorry. I was supposed to dress up in Hawaiian gear, and I totally messed it up. These wonderful people came prepared, have incredible Hawaiian outfits, very festive, and Jordan forgot. So I'm so sorry. If you look back a year ago, you can see me in a ridiculous shirt, but you're not going to get it tonight. You're going to get what I wore to work today. Yes, so this had to be said. Y'all were fantastic. Played ahead. Not me. Whoops. So I'm solo dadding it this week, and it's been rough. So I know. Well, and last week too, but I'm just happy to be here. So a little bit of news from the nest for you, right? Other than that, huh?
You probably should put next to each other. Sorry.
No, we should put you next to each other. It's even better. News from the nest. Maybe we should title this segment "Deadline Overload." You know, somebody throw a graphic up. You know, deadline overload. So a couple of things they're working on. A couple of things for you to know. We're in the month of March. Okay, so if you're out there and maybe you're a parent, maybe you're a student, and you're thinking about your future or your child's future, right? Because you want to get them out of the house one day. Then we've got some things to tell you. Summer is coming up. Summer is soon. What was that Game of Thrones thing? Winter's coming. Yeah. So summer's coming, which is way better than winter. Well, I don't know. Maybe you love winter, but summer's coming. And we want you to come to KSU. We just put out a really cool summer campaign. You can check it out at summer.kennesaw.edu. Bright, beautiful colors, really cool stuff. And then a whole list of why you should come and take classes over the summer. So whether you're out there and you're a current student and you're scrolling your Facebook right now and you're coming across this Facebook Live going, what are these people talking about? Or you're a prospective student, prospective family of a student, then we would love to have you for the summer. So summer deadline dates are June the 1st. Now you may be going, wait a minute, that's like already a third of the way through the summer. And you're right. We have multiple summer semesters, or well, some terms within the summer semester. So if you want to come, for instance, like a Maymester, then obviously you need to apply to us before June the 1st. So my advice to you is get your application in as soon as possible. There's no reason to delay. That way you can make sure you're completing all of the requirements and we can get you in to sign up for summer classes, okay? But if not, if you want to come for our very last term within summer, you have all the way until June the 1st. Some other things that are coming up, we have some big open houses that will happen in the month of April. We just had our record-breaking largest open houses on both campuses, the Marietta campus and the Kennesaw campus. So I need to tell you a little bit about what we do. When we have an open house, we do it by major and by campus. So if you're coming to the Marietta campus, it would be for majors like in engineering and architecture and computer science. So if you're coming here, you would come to the Marietta campus for open house. Or if you're wanting to study something like communications or business or nursing, you would go to the Kennesaw campus. So we have a whole website for you, admissions.kennesaw.edu/open house. By the way, any website we just throw out, we're going to post there in the Facebook Live feed. So you have links to all of those. That way you don't have to like try to type feverishly or write it down or whatever you're doing at home right now. Hopefully none of that. So we'll get you to the right websites and visit the open house website. We have another list of why you should come to open house, but you can sign up there for our April dates. We have April the 18th and April the 25th. So April the 18th is on the Kennesaw campus and April the 25th is on the Marietta campus. We would love to have you. We want to break a record again, show up for one of those open houses, find out if KSU is the right place for you. So a couple other things going on. Transfer deadlines. So if you want to come for the summer and transfer in, it's June the 1st, just like I said a minute ago. But then another big semester is fall. And a lot of students are trying to transfer in for the fall. You have all the way until June the 12th to apply and complete your application. So June the 12th. We do have a deadlines website as well. So if all of these deadlines are jumbling up together, we're going to post that deadline website as well from our admissions site. And then last things I want to tell you about deadline dates wise, we have a great Saturday tour option coming up. So if you can't make one of the open houses, you're just jonesing to get here and get on a tour as soon as you can. March the 21st is our next Saturday tour, so please come. We do them on both campuses, so come for the Kennesaw campus or the Marietta campus. And then we also have an evening transfer session. We understand if you're a transfer student, sometimes it's not easy to get here. You're in school, you're working during the day, whatever's going on with your life. We want to make KSU as accessible as possible. So come for our transfer evening event. It's on April the 2nd. And that's going to be available on our visit website, visit.kennesaw.edu. So a couple of things like, a couple of deadlines. Okay, deadline section is over.
Not yet.
No?
March 27th.
Oh, perfect, yes.
Yes, dual
Thank you.
enrollment students, if you haven't applied, make sure that you apply and submit all documentation by March 27th. If you have questions, you can go to dep.kennesaw.edu.
Awesome. What was that date?
March 27th.
Nice. So that's like,
March 27th.
that's like
soon.
Like 2 weeks.
2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks, 2.5-ish. Yeah.
Get everything.
Yeah, no reason to delay. You're going to accept
Sign up today.
the March SAT,
Except
right?
the March 14th SAT. And those students who have the the February ACT, and it was rescheduled for this month of March, we will accept those scores too. Because I know that we have some snow in Cherokee and Cobb County, so we'll
Awesome.
accept those rescheduled dates.
Perfect. Okay. Those are really my news from the Nest section. So we have career planning and development with us here tonight. And that's one thing I love about KSU is we're focused from the beginning of your time here at the institution and even before, arguably, all the way through your career. And these wonderful people here are going to tell you about what we do to engage with you while you're coming to KSU and even after you're at KSU. And they do an absolutely wonderful job. So I'm looking forward to what we're going to talk about tonight. If you have questions out there, you want to learn about outcomes at KSU, the things we do while you're here as a student to get you engaged and really enhance your undergraduate education, amongst other things, graduate education too, I know, but just since I work for undergrad, so that's where I go naturally. Then let us know. Please ask in the comments section in Facebook Live with these questions. We will answer these live and on the air. And if we don't get to them live and on the air, we're going, or live and on the internet cable, then we're going to, whatever. Wow, I showed my age. What goes through the air anymore? The radio? Yeah, something like that. So we're going to answer them, and then we'll answer them after being live as well. So yeah, that's what I was trying to get to. Okay, so tell us a little bit, tell the Facebook community, right, a little bit about what y'all do for students.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we're the Department of Career Planning and Development, and we see it as our business to help students figure out what they want to do, connect with experiences and engagement opportunities so that they can refine those interests while they're here, and then connect with employers on the back end. So I'll dig in a little deeper. So from an exploratory perspective, we have a number of advisors who are assigned to the particular colleges that they serve, and they work really closely with students to figure out, is this the right major? What can you do with a major? I think a lot of us pigeonhole ourselves into thinking that one major is really prescriptive and leads to only one end. And so our advisors do a lot of work on that. Then the next part is sort of this experiential piece. Nothing is better than trying something out to decide that you love it or that it's really not great. And so we have a job shadow program, we have an internship and co-op program, and those are experiences where you go out into the world and see what things are like, see what contexts you appreciate and where you would want to work and what kinds of things you would like doing. And then we have events where we bring employers to campus to network with you, to practice networking with you, and then to ultimately recruit you. We have hundreds and hundreds of employers on campus each semester so that there's ample time to practice before you need to.
That's really valuable. I mean, of course, we're trying to connect the dots here, right? But I mean, I can't think about a time in my undergraduate experience where I was able to practice networking. I mean, and then in the practicing, you really are networking, right? I mean, it's like, whoa. You know?
Yeah. Well, and a lot of our employers are really developmental. We have a lot of alums come back to recruit, which is really neat because they care a lot about the students that are here, and so they're doing a lot of developmental work. They want to practice with you because they also want people who graduate from KSU now to be as successful as they were. So it's a nice marriage of all.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I can say for me, when I was a student here at KSU, being able to go to someone that focused in on my specific college in my area and say like, these are the things that I'm interested in, or I was like, I have no clue where to start. Like, how do I find an internship? Where do I go? Like, what do I do? And it was nice to have somebody like just to focus in on the Coles College of Business and help me kind of explore internships and co-ops and what the difference was for a student. So that's always nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it worked really well because you got an awesome
Here you
job
are.
in admissions as MASP.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the exploratory piece is really critical, and a lot of career services units at other schools aren't as strong, I don't think, as we are in the exploratory space. I certainly didn't know what I wanted to do when I entered college, and so to have someone, even as soon as your first year, meeting with you to talk about your interests and to figure out what your strengths are, I think is really a value add here at KSU that's somewhat unique. It's developing in the field, but I just think we're pretty strong.
Right.
So.
I think we also really try to empower you to kind of take ownership of your career and your path. And so we know that some of those opportunities after KSU, it doesn't mean that you'll be working with an employer. It means maybe that you're going to go to grad school. And so we help with that as well as having career assessments and things of that nature. So we really want you all to see us as, not as a hand holder for your career, but really as an ally to really help you every step of the way.
Let's revisit the job shadowing part, because I think I agree. It's just that I've worked in higher ed and I've worked at other institutions other than KSU, and I really can't. Institutions talk about this kind of thing, I think, on the surface level, right? And it's more of like, of course you can job shadow, but what does that really mean? And for us, what do y'all do to give opportunities? What are the specific opportunities? When do those kinds of things occur? And when should students really be thinking about the job, particularly job shadowing in this case? When should they be thinking about engaging with career planning and development to job shadow?
I think you should begin engaging with career planning and development as soon as you're on campus. I think job shadowing, so there's the formal job shadowing program that we offer, but there's also just job shadowing. So if you met with your advisor and said, I really want to know more about this field, they may work with you to do informational interviewing, which might lead to a one-on-one job shadowing. But we do have a job shadowing program once each semester, usually during break times, during non-peak academic times, and employers reach out, say they want to host a certain number of students in certain kind of industries, not a specific major necessarily, but broad sweeping industries, and then students sign up to participate and we do a matching. So some students will do just one day based on their interests, some will do all 5 days, each at a different company. And I mean, your first year is the
wild.
Answer to when you should start.
Yeah,
So.
I think that's really wild.
Yeah.
Because we know, and no, majors don't always tie to careers, right? And you can even speak to that better than I can, right? But to be able to engage that early and figure out, as you always hear about the stereotypical, I always wanted to be a nurse, and then I saw blood, for the first time kind of thing. But there's so many careers and so many pathways that our students could take, especially at an institution like us that has such an array of majors to pick from, the full gamut almost really for undergrads, that they would have this kind of opportunity early on to critically think about where do they best fit, you know, and I can only imagine how that helps encourage students, right? That they're in the right place, or encourage them, and that's where y'all come in as well, like the whole thing, encourage them to find the right place for themselves. Because we hear so often, I switched my major 2 times, or, you know, I mean, I switched my major once, and honestly, that set me back because of changes in degree requirements, where I had to go in a whole additional year in undergrad, and that was my own doing, right? I knew that, and I made that choice, but because I couldn't have my soul continue to be sucked out of me in that other major. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but
but the worst thing would be to leave KSU at the end of 4 years, and go into a job that really doesn't serve you, or that's really not your preference at all, and then have to retool. So the earlier you can try, I mean, is this a good time for an anecdote?
Of course.
Cool.
Anytime.
So I did an internship at the juvenile justice system in Texas. I thought I wanted to counsel young inmates, and it turns out I don't want to do that. It's noble, wonderful work, and it just isn't for me. It's the wrong context. I'm much better suited to working within higher ed. So the subsequent internships I did 2. The second one was just such a better fit, and that set me up to choose the graduate school that I chose, and ultimately put me on the path towards this work.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm sure you can attest to this too, doing your internship. The earlier you engage in really finding your space in what a career looks like for you, the more invested you are in your classwork as well.
Yeah.
And so that goes for, you know, these job shadowing experiences, but also for internships and co-ops.
Absolutely. So how should a student go about just like saying, I want to be a part of a job shadowing, or I want to go into a co-op or internship? Like, do they just show up, or do they have to like take the time to like set up an appointment? Like, how does that work for a student?
Yeah, so we, you know, if you want to talk about it more, we want you to come meet with us and meet with your advisor to talk about what some of those options are. But honestly, we make it really easy and accessible for students. So our job shadowing program, the application process is all done through Handshake, which is our career management system. And so same with internships and co-ops. We have about 13,000 jobs and internships and co-ops on Handshake right now. And so we make a lot of those opportunities really accessible because we want to meet you where you are. You know, we want to meet you, you're online already, you're in D2L, and so we want to meet you there.
Can you talk a little bit more about Handshake, since we mentioned it, and what that is for students who are just like, what is Handshake? Like, I've never heard of this before. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so it's an amazing career management system. And so we really kind of like to host a lot of our, if not all of our resources within Handshake. And so there's a jobs platform where only employers that want to recruit KSU students can post their jobs there. So you're kind of already starting off on a really good foot, knowing that this employer is excited about recruiting at KSU. All of our events are hosted in there, as well as any employers that we're hosting on campus. So info tables, info sessions. You can see there's an extensive list. So we're always making these opportunities available for you. The application process, like I said, for job shadow program, but also for internship and co-op academic credit, because you can actually get class credit for internship or co-op, is in there as well. So there's a kind of wealth of resources available there.
Can students, because if we have, you know, that many employers and opportunities, how does a student kind of like filter out, like, I'm a management major, and I want to look at jobs that may lean toward like my major as a management major or accounting major? How does a student kind of decide how to filter that out?
Yeah, so you can actually filter by your major, which is really great. You can also use kind of keywords. Also, if you want, you know, only a paid job or only a paid internship or co-op, you can filter by that. You can filter by location. There's a lot of different factors that we know may play into your internship, co-op, or job search, and so Handshake is really accommodating of that.
And the more information you put into Handshake and the more often you use it, it's a learning system. And so it will learn you, and it will suggest particular positions of interest to you based on other things you've been interested in.
It is true, because I have an account with Handshake, and I get emails all the time. It's like, hey, Jacinta, we found a job for you, a manager. And I'm like, I'm not a student anymore.
Now close your ears.
It's because I was hiring a student assistant. That was the only reason I had to create an account.
I can see you blushing.
Which is another good point. All on-campus jobs are in Handshake too. And so it's the whole life cycle. If you come to KSU, any job that you would want on campus internship, co-op, full-time, part-time. They're all
Right.
in there.
Volunteer
Volunteer
experiences.
experiences.
Like Jacinta student assistants or our campus tour guides, you know, so. Right,
Shameless plug.
Right. But,
Or new job.
I think Jacinta, or a new job after this.
After this.
You did mention it, Jacinta, and that was the greatest part of what you just said, was that you were getting emails about it. So is that Handshake will email the student, I mean, based on this cool learning algorithm and all the, you know, doodad technology that's working behind it. So they'll get like an email, oh, this just popped up, and then your recommendation is get in.
Get in.
Get into the Handshake system as soon as possible. Yeah, jump. Okay, cool.
The system also absolutely jump because your resume should already be in the system and approved.
Nice.
So our team will review your resume, kind of a cursory glance of it, and so it'll be ready to go as soon as you see a job.
I love it.
And the profile, so you could create your own, well, you should create your profile in Handshake, and it actually works similar to LinkedIn. And so you can, you know, upload your resume, and a lot of that auto-populates for you, which is super easy. But a lot of recruitment from employers happens through your Handshake profile. So it's not uncommon for you to have an employer reach out to say, hey, I saw this skill set on your Handshake profile, and I would love to interview you about it. So it's a really great opportunity.
Wow, that's incredible. You don't even have to go work for it.
Right.
As scary as some people think finding jobs are. That's so cool. I think we have some questions. So do we want to get some questions, and then maybe we'll get some more content as well?
Generic.
Or we'll tease out.
All right.
So do you guys, Jacinta and Jordan, are you aware of how many beds we have or how many students, freshman students we can house? Can we accommodate? Or is that something?
I would not do our lovely people, campus partners in housing justice if I threw out how many beds we can accommodate for incoming first-year students. So I'm not going to throw out a number. If Tiffany or Chris or somebody out there is on this Facebook Live and you would like to comment, that would be great. If not, we're going to find that answer for you.
Yes.
And we'll post it there in the Facebook Live. But generally speaking, currently we have 5,200 beds. That's general round number between the two campuses. So I'm just going to throw that out there.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and then another one about housing. Is there a huge difference between living on campus or not if you're a full-time student?
Can I answer this?
Go for it.
So
Jump right
So
in.
you may be able to answer it too. I don't know if you lived on campus when you were a student, but I did live on campus, and I will tell you, I feel like my kind of sense of belonging and my identity to KSU was so much greater than some of my peers who didn't get the opportunity to live on campus. So if you can, I would say absolutely do it. You will get to meet lifelong friends. You'll stay super connected to what's going on at the university, and you'll have a really great time. So.
I agree. I think, especially if you're a full-time student and you're packing your day with classes, it is nice to just kind of get up and go to class and not feel this like sense of like urgency, like I've got to get to class, I've got to get in my car, I've got to, you know, fight traffic. I can just, you know, wake up, kind of take my time, and then head to my class, which is just a few steps from, you know, your dorm. So it's great to live on campus if you have the means and the opportunity to do so. I think that it's definitely a great opportunity for students.
Plus, you get to eat on campus, like, you know, which is awesome.
Yeah,
I'll say
super good.
my experience was not here at KSU, but they really did us a disservice freshman year because our residence hall was above the dining commons. So I would walk downhill to get food, which was awesome. And then after filling up with food, I had to walk back uphill. Not so good. I think
on purpose.
It was on purpose. It was definitely on purpose. But it didn't help me one bit. Oh, well, what do you do? And I will say that's great advice about living on campus. I pretty much all research out there in higher education will say you should live on campus if you have that ability, because it is so much easier to build community, just like Krista said, and really engage in the institution. If you're not, if you're going to commute, or if you're looking at cost of attendance as really a make it or break it for you. And I totally understand that, especially in today's age. You're really trying to look at the least expensive way to get the best possible education. There is a way to do it if you're a commuter, and it is to treat going to school like it's a job. And I don't mean that to sound like boring or like, oh man, I have to go work this job now. But it's when you're on campus, it's all business. You're going to class, you're engaging in clubs and organizations, you're getting involved as a student, you're doing everything on campus, you're studying on campus, you're making friends, and you're going to spend your time on campus. And when it's time for the job to be over, you're going to go home and you're going to go to sleep, or wherever you're living, you're going to go to sleep, and then you're going to do it again the next day. So, and that's pretty much what we do for our jobs. So, and sometimes we're here much later than normal.
I agree. Yeah, I was a commuter student because I lived so close to campus, so it just made sense for me to live at home to save costs. But it was nice when I was here, and I took the opportunity to like go to the museum or like just engage myself, hang out with my friends who lived on campus, like go study at their dorm room, like just kind of making myself a part of the culture and the campus, so that I didn't feel like I was just going to class and then going back home like I was in high school or something like that. So it's, you can make it worth your while.
Yeah.
Definitely.
One more.
Okay,
this one is about international students. They want to know how much time it takes admissions to help international students get their visa documents.
So I can answer this question a little bit. So when it comes to students who are on a student visa or any other type of visa, we actually have an office called Global Affairs, and they can talk to you more in depth about your visa process. The admission side of things, we actually have two awesome counselors who can kind of walk you through the admission process of if you need to submit a TOEFL score, if you have to have an evaluation done, where can you go to get those evaluations done? So if you have questions about the admission process and what do I need so that I can complete my application by the deadline, say for June 1st or June 12th for transfer students, then we definitely encourage you to contact us, and we would get you in contact with Will or Callie, who are amazing, and they help out our international students a lot.
great. So we talked about job shadowing. We've dabbled slightly into internships and co-ops, but what are some things you would want to tell students about? I think internships and co-ops, I feel like this is going to go a certain direction, right? So I'm just going to like open-ended question this out and say, what would you want to tell students about internships and co-ops? And I think we'll have some questions too, or people that are watching just thinking about certain majors, whether they require it or not, as being super necessary. So whatever you want to say about that, and let's see where it goes.
Yeah, so I think first and foremost is just kind of setting the stage as to what internships and co-ops are. I know that it can be kind of confusing and kind of alphabet soup with all of the options you're going to have. So if you kind of think of internships and co-ops, what we like to call is experiential learning or experiential education. And so what that means is that with either an internship or a co-op, you're applying what you're learning in the classroom in a real world work environment. And so on the internship side of things, they're typically going to be a shorter commitment, so a 1 semester commitment typically. They can be paid or unpaid, full-time or part-time, and they are offered literally in every field. So co-ops are a little bit different. They're a little bit of a longer term experience, so multiple semesters. Sometimes they're, semester after semester, and sometimes you'll go to your co-op and then come back to school and then go back to your co-op. So kind of just depending on your major academic program. Co-ops are full-time and they're always paid. So that kind of decision between internship or co-op is just going to look different depending on your graduation plan and your degree plan, and also what your academic department offers for credit. So come see us and we can kind of talk to you about what some of those differences are more in depth depending on your academic program.
And I would just say, in addition to some of those details, just kind of a different view. I think you should plan ahead. I guess that's the theme for tonight, is plan ahead. Life advice, right? But like plan ahead for when you're going to build an internship or a co-op into your degree program. And one of the benefits, I guess, people do multiple, like Krista said, either co-ops or different internships at different semesters. And a lot of our intern and co-op students leave with a job in hand. So it's really a good way to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success, both from a figuring out what you want to do perspective, but also I have a job when I leave perspective. Just wanted to add that.
And just to kind of let you in on some intel with kind of how employers look at internships and co-ops, experiential education or experiential learning programs with internships and co-ops are about 80% of how employers recruit their incoming employees. And so they're not just offering these as fun experiences for you, they're looking to recruit you at the end of the day. And so like Anna said, some of them, really the majority of them, that's what they're looking to do. So they want to bring you in and teach you about the field and the industry and all of these great opportunities they have, and then hopefully you'll have kind of an offer in hand at the end of the day before you even graduate. So
I think about my undergraduate experience, which was at a totally different institution and private, and I had nowhere near this level of guidance. It was really, one of my professors said, you have to do an internship to graduate, and I recommend you go look for one now, and that was pretty much it. I mean, the career services, as we called it, office at my alma mater, was thumbed through a book, but it wasn't really littered with internship, options. And so I really did just have to almost cold call people, and it was a daunting experience, and I felt so unprepared, and that seems like it's total opposite for what y'all provide for students.
yeah.
Which is sort of why we don't call ourselves career services. Like, we wanted you to see it as a process and that we would be with you along that process. We want to help you plan and develop your career. We're not just a resource that's kind of this, that's not this like side thing that you come and run to when you're having an emergency. Because I was the same way. I had to cold call to find my internships. They were okay. Would have been better with an advisor.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely.
I suspect.
Can you guys talk about other resources? So we talked about internships, we talked about Handshake and co-ops and things like that. What other resources do you all provide to students to prepare them for the job opportunities? And I'll say what I say on the road to students is that when you graduate, we're not handing you a job, but we're going to give you the tools to prepare you so that you are ready to find a job after graduation, or the other side of graduation, as our marketing teacher would say.
Yeah.
So what other ways do we prepare our students to find a job after graduation?
So I think something that is really unique to us and kind of our model at KSU is that we're very closely connected with the academic side of the house. So, we are a student service, but we're having constant kind of conversations and meetings with faculty that are in charge of your internship and co-op course, or with deans and department chairs to talk about kind of what your course load is like and how to fit internships or co-ops into that. I also think another resource that is really heavily utilized is our career self-assessment. So we have them all online, as well as an assessment called U-Science, where we give you a code and it really matches, some things about your interests and your personality, but also it is based on skills as well. And that's something that you can't really find readily available out there just for free. And so KSU really invests in their students, and our department invests in our students to make sure that you understand it's not just about what you want to do, but it's also about what you're good at. And so U-Science can be found on our website, and then you meet with your advisor and we really kind of debrief it with you.
That's awesome.
I guess some of the other things that I would think about that would be on that list, we obviously do tangible things like resume reviews, cover letter reviews, curriculum vitae reviews, LinkedIn profile reviews a little bit, and then mock interviews on camera. So we try to make sure that you're as polished and prepared in any situation where you're putting your face or your documents forward. Right. The mock interviews are on camera, which is like this little nerve-wracking.
Well, talk about that environment a little bit, because I do think that it's much like with what we were talking about earlier. Oh gosh, I just blanked, but it's really preparing the students, right? Challenging them, and that kind of area, right, of assessment is difficult. So, we don't want people to be critical of us, right? But at the end of the day, it's what we need the most of. And my boss is probably watching today, so we had a good conversation earlier. But so we need that, right, to be better in life. And for something like this, I think that's so necessary. But what is that like for a student to come in and do a mock interview, and what do they leave with as well?
Right. I think that you're right. It does seem daunting kind of on the outset, but I will speak for our team, and I don't think any of us are scary. So the three of us that do mock interviews in our office, we're not scary people, and we do it and we offer that service because we want to help you, not because we want to judge you. So I think keep that in mind. But you come in, you bring a job description of a job that you're planning to apply to. You come in dressed for your interview, and then we have some questions that we want to ask you, kind of like a role play situation with an interview. And so as we're talking through and I'm asking you these questions and you're answering them, the conversation is recorded. So that way you and I can go back and watch the tape, and you can really see, oh, well, am I talking with my hands too much? Do I need to not play with my hair? Do I say and like too many times? And that's an opportunity that you won't get outside of a mock interview. So I always tell students it's much better to fall flat on your face in a mock interview than it is for an interview for your dream internship or co-op. And so I think I've never had a student, I don't want to toot my own horn, and I think the other two people that do this would say the same thing, but I've never had a student leave my office and say, okay, well, that was a waste of my time. Every time I do a mock interview, they're always like, wow, I had no idea. Like, this is a really fantastic opportunity for me to see myself in a way that I wouldn't get that opportunity otherwise. So.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think we're definitely here to build you up and to help you make any minor corrections that you may need so you feel more confident when you go out. And going back to what you were talking about with assessments, some of the tools that we have for assessments I think are really great, because coming out of high school you may not know all of the things you could be good at. Some people may have earlier exposure to certain things than you do, and so you might go into a class and be like, I could never be a computer programmer, and that may be false. And that's why we have both interest inventories and aptitude to see what you actually have skills that you could use in a career, and I think that's a really important differentiation. I'm not sure every school has aptitude tests and interest tests, and I think a perfect career fit somewhere in the middle of what you have the skills and aptitudes for, and then what you're really interested in. So.
And I think we do a really good job at scaling our services. So if you're feeling like a mock interview is too intimidating, maybe it's your first semester at KSU and you're still trying to learn the ropes, we have a service called Interview Stream, also online, that is basically a mock interview, but it's just you and your computer. So the computer prompts you all sorts of questions related to your industry or your field, and then you get to watch yourself answer those questions via your webcam, and then kind of evaluate yourself on your own. So if being in person seems too intimidating, you can definitely just do it online as well.
I think that's really cool, because a lot of times now the initial interview, especially for something that's outside of or even inside of like Metro Atlanta, is going to be virtual.
Yeah,
first. It's going to be online. Then it grows into an in-person. I'm not hearing of as many. I'm sure there's still phone interviews, but even so, I have a disclosure. I have a college student, and she had an internship interview that was, she called it Skype. I'm not sure if it was, but that's just like tissue, Kleenex, like saying Kleenex. Yeah, sorry. Whoops, like saying tissue. Like saying chair. Yeah, whoops, whatever. Yes. But she was just like, it was so weird, Dad, and I mean, obviously she didn't have this kind of service to be able to practice. So that's another disclosure. She does not go to school here.
That reminds me of another thing. Awesome. That reminds me of another thing that we offer that I forgot. We have on-campus recruiting that happens in both of our offices. So we have a main office in Kennesaw and a main office in Marietta, as well as some satellite offices. But in both of the main offices, we have employers from all over Metro Atlanta for sure, but sometimes the state and sometimes the region country come and physically occupy our space to interview you for full-time, part-time, and internship and co-op positions. And so being on Handshake, like what Krista was mentioning earlier, really is great, because you can see, oh, hey, such and such company is actually physically on campus today. I don't have to drive downtown for an interview. I can schedule one right here on campus.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a cool service.
Very cool.
Can you talk about employers? Because I know sometimes students are like, I want to go to the biggest 500 Fortune company ever. But can we talk about some of the opportunities where it's not necessarily like the well-named companies, but like students were successful at like finding jobs afterward, or just kind of talk about that a little bit, if that makes sense?
Absolutely, yeah. So we I think, again, do a really great job at kind of offering you whatever it is that you're looking for. And so like every semester or every year, I should say, we have Google on campus, and they come and do workshops with our students and have kind of like a coding gaming program that they put on, similar to like a hackathon, things like that. And so we have those opportunities, but we also, I literally 2 weeks ago just met with a construction company down the road. That's a smaller company, but they're looking to hire project managers. And so, you know, I know a lot of our students are looking for these bigger name companies, but we also have students that want kind of a smaller, more close-knit, familial sort of experience for their employment. And so we offer those as well.
And there's real benefit to thinking about both of those options, the really big or the really small. At a really big, let's say you already know what you want to do. At a really big company, you can specialize. You can go straight into what you want to do. If you're not exactly sure, but you sort of think, I want to be in this industry, working for a smaller company might afford you the opportunity to be a generalist and like see all the different roles and responsibilities and really fine tune your interests. And so I think there's a million career values that you can explore in thinking that way. So.
And we also, like similar to your different preferences in employer, we know that our student body makeup is super diverse. And so we know that some of you are coming back to KSU for, you know, either your master's or you're changing careers. And so one of the students that I had the opportunity to work with, she was fantastic. She was in a master's program, and we sat down and worked through her resume and kind of really talked about how to relate her work experience prior to KSU to her kind of career path that she was looking to go into. And so recently I just found out she works at NCR Corporation, which is fantastic. And so I think one of the most rewarding parts of our jobs is just getting to know that, you know, she got that job because she is fantastic, but that we got to have a small part in kind of helping review her resume for those positions and things like that. And that's not uncommon. Those are success stories that we hear all the time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think we have a question, so let's jump on this question.
Okay, so Taylor wants to know, is it better to do a co-op or an internship in terms of experience and potential learning opportunities? Also, where is career planning located on both campuses?
So
Would you ask Taylor what her
Co-op or internship?
is the major?
Yes. Okay. Taylor, can you please list your major on
That'd
that
be awesome.
comment as well?
And maybe while Taylor's trying to answer that, we can talk about office locations.
Locations, yes.
Yeah, so on the Kennesaw campus, we're in Kennesaw Hall, which is the main administrative building where financial aid and the registrar are. We're on the second floor, just up the spiral staircase in suite 2617. Almost forgot. Worked here for a decade.
Stairway to
Heaven.
your career.
careers. Yeah.
And then here on the Marietta campus, we're in suite A160, which is in the student center, just kind of around the corner from the sushi place and Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Boom.
Good spots.
Yeah.
Depending on your answer, another addendum. If you're on the Kennesaw campus, your advisor could be physically housed in the college of your major. We have two in the Coles College of Business, one in the Wellstar College of Health and Human. You're going to give me the answer.
I got her. Public relations.
Yes. So your advisor is going to be actually in Willingham Hall. So it's right in the Undergraduate Advising Center. So you can always find Holly there, which is exciting. So for you, Taylor, I would say an internship is probably going to be your best route. That's much more common within the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, and then specifically in the School of Communication. So definitely meet with Holly, talk to her about what some of those, maybe if you want to work for a firm or you want to work for a company but specialize in communication for them. Holly Shadiz is your career and internship advisor, and she's going to be a great resource for you. So I think for you, I would focus more so on that internship route.
Got another question from Gordon.
Hi, Gordon.
This one, he says, hooty hoo. Good start. They are going to be a junior transfer student in our architecture program.
Oh, nice.
And they want to know, should they be looking for an internship immediately or wait until their final year? They've read the architecture program is pretty intense, and to keep work hours to a minimum, but being architecture, I will need the hours. Are there recommended plans?
Yeah, I would say it's intense because it's great, and so it really prepares you for what you're going to experience at a firm after graduation. So most of our students that are juniors are doing, in the architecture program, are doing internships. So I would say as soon as you get to KSU, meet with Lauren Higdon. She is your career and internship advisor, and she can really walk you through time management skills also, and how you're going to fit that internship into your load of classes as well.
Awesome. Taylor says thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a couple of questions that aren't career planning. When will financial aid be awarded? So we want to just give a brief overview of that real quick.
Soon.
Yeah.
Very brief.
It's vague enough, and no, so we don't work for financial aid, so I don't want to necessarily speak for financial aid. And if somebody for financial aid wants to get on here and answer, they're more than welcome to. But I would recommend you check out the financial aid website, and they've got a ton of information out there. We'll have that web link posted for you as well. And then when awards are packaged, so that's like an official financial aid term, packaging, you'll see that on your Owl Express account. So from my understanding, it should be very soon.
Ron just commented.
Yes.
Soon.
Awesome, I love it. Thanks, Ron. So,
Ron is the financial aid director, so there we go.
Yep, great.
Okay, so let me see. I think we have one more. Let me find it.
Good things are worth the wait.
Yeah, definitely.
Good life
You know?
lesson.
Yeah.
Do you guys know how many credit hours you're allowed to take in the summer?
1 million.
All
Next
of them,
question.
right?
Wow.
Yeah, like
Sign up for your friends.
Please
no
do
limit.
not
Limit
take
does not exist.
the limit does not.
If you go to the summer website, it won't tell you the answer, but it will tell you a lot of other cool things.
Yeah.
So summer.kennesaw.edu.
It's in the comments.
Right.
Okay.
Really, summer, you'll find students taking 6 credit hours or 9 credit hours, but really 9 in the summer, you're pretty much full time for the summer. So it's a lot. It's time intensive, especially depending on which term within the semester you pick. I always like to talk about summer as the time to focus in on a specific discipline or subject area. So for me, that was Spanish. I'm a horrible foreign language student, just not. That's Jordan, sorry. And Senora V out there would attest to that, my old Spanish teacher.
At least you remember their name.
Oh, I love her to death. She's awesome. She was my favorite teacher, and I was not a good student. She was the most wonderful woman. Walton High School, I took Spanish over the summer so that it would force me to only focus on that subject area, and it worked. I actually made A's in college in Spanish. So.
See,
Paid off.
Muy bien, that's right. Paid off, yeah.
Okay, one more
Mucho
question.
dinero.
Do y'all know anything about ROTC?
Oh, good
We
question.
can get dangerous with ROTC.
Yeah.
What would you like to know about ROTC?
Okay.
We'll post the link for the ROTC
Yeah, I'll list
website for you.
It just says ROTC program ? How does it work? Is dedication to the military required?
So, ROTC, if you're in ROTC, and it's been a little while since I talked about ROTC, but for us, primarily it's Army. There's also Air Force. There's other programs in Metro Atlanta, but we partner with Georgia Tech as well as other institutions in the area. They house the actual programs for Army and Air Force. When you're committing to ROTC, you are committing either to go into officer candidacy, or you're going to go into a reservist path. Most people will go into a reservist path, but I mean, if you at all want to serve in our nation's military, going into ROTC is an incredible way to go through college, get your bachelor's degree, or other things as well. You can do ROTC for graduate degrees, but to receive the incredible benefits that the military will give you, and then also serve your country by being commissioned as an officer in one of the branches of military that you serve in ROTC. So I think there's a lot of benefits to serving in ROTC, and a lot of times when we're talking to students, or for instance, my biological father is retired Army, and he started as an infantryman, and if he could go back and do it again, he said he would have gone to college first and gone the officer route to start. So it's just a much more uphill battle to get to the officer ranks and beyond. But anyways, that's my ROTC bit. We'll post the links there for you, and you can check out their website and reach out. Really, the best people to reach out to are the ROCC representatives that ask those specific questions.
And if you are interested in kind of a military career, just recently, actually, the Georgia National Guard has an office inside of our Student Center on the 3rd floor. They're a pretty big supporter and partner of career planning and development, and so you could always go talk to them and kind of chat about what those options look like too.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Okay, Anna, we got kind of an orientation-specific question.
All right.
They want to know when they can register for OWL Expedition. Has that been released yet? They said
I don't think it's released yet.
It's not yet.
It's still in,
still says 2019, but we're working on it.
It's still in planning. We're working on kind of a revamp of the website, which should be live within a month, I would say, or just a little after that, let's say. And around that time, I would look in for those dates. They should be up on the new. Yeah. We're not going to probably make a lot of updates to the existing website as we're working on an overhaul to the new one.
Yeah. It's going to be awesome.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Now, I know y'all are doing tons of events, right? So just, all sorts of engagement opportunities for students outside of all the other things you're doing. So many things with Handshake and all these other programs. But what are some cool things that career planning and development does throughout the year to engage with students, whether it's during the day or it's after hours on the weekend? What are some things?
Yeah. So we just had our kind of semesterly suit-up event at JCPenney. So JCPenney, I know, right, allowed KSU students to come in, gave them a special discount, and it's really fantastic. It's a great opportunity if you are gearing up for interviews or you just need some more professional attire. It's open to KSU and their guests as well. So that's something to be on the lookout for future semesters. But coming up soon on March 16th, we have our job fair prep day. So we realized, I guess it's been a little over a year ago now, that students were definitely, they know about our career fairs and they know about those job seeking opportunities, but we were getting an influx of appointments before those fairs. And so we realized, why don't we just host an event that allows students to prepare prior to the fair, kind of your last ditch effort to get some of those preparation pieces in. So if you need a new LinkedIn headshot, if you want to come get your resume reviewed, if you want to just practice your elevator pitch, we have that on March 16th in the university rooms on the Kennesaw campus right before the All Majors Fair, that 2-day career fair. So that's a huge one that we have upcoming.
Yep, and that career fair is March 17th and 18th in the Siegel Rec Center.
Yes.
We have, and just to talk about career fairs in general, we have, it's hard to know how to count them.
Right.
But we have I'd say between 6 and 10 career fairs a year if you count single days versus some of our fairs are 2 days. But each semester we have a STEM-focused job and internship fair, an all majors job and internship fair, and then we have an accounting and finance fair, an education fair, sometimes a healthcare expo kind of thing, a little smaller niche fair. And so we really try to get as many employers as we can here on campus to recruit you. And not just when you need to be recruited, but also so you can practice some of those earlier conversations about figuring out what to say, what your elevator speech is, how you're going to introduce yourself.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That first impression, huge deal or deal breaker.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got another question from Taylor. Do you guys mind talking about work study programs and what jobs are offered through work study?
Cool.
Yeah. So we have a variety of jobs that are offered through federal work study. If you are eligible for federal work study, that's a mouthful, you will see those jobs populate for you on Handshake. So it says FWS and then it says dash and whatever the job title is. So they could be anything from working in the rec center at membership services or being a student assistant in your academic department. So there's a really wide array of those opportunities.
Come be a tour guide.
Yeah.
Another question is ROTC a major or would they?
No.
So I need to. So the same person asked a question about which campus they would be housed on if they were. So I need to find out what major they're interested in.
Whichever one you
It's based
want.
on your major.
Okay. All right. So it is based on your major. So I'll find that out.
Yeah.
So
You can just It's not major specific. That's probably the best way to say it. It's not.
ROTC is not.
It's not major
Yeah, no.
specific. You're
No.
just taking the military science classes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did want to mention we have one more event that we haven't talked about yet, which is every January we have a student professional development conference, and we would recommend students go to that each year. We have alumni come back, we have faculty present. We sort of think of career as everyone's business. Like everyone that's at KSU should be helping you along your career path, and so we try to gather all those minds to present to you, to get you thinking about different aspects of your career. So I just wanted to make sure people knew every year.
I actually was at.
You were there.
It was
you were
cool. It was really cool.
super helpful at
I learned a
check-in.
lot.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
super helpful.
Awesome.
So what if you're leaving students out there with one really big piece of advice? So we do this pretty much every month with our special guests. You got one piece of advice you want to throw out there. What would you throw out there? And it could even be student specific. So you have a first year student coming in, and maybe there's a transfer student that's been thinking about coming to KSU. What would you say to them to really encourage them on their way through KSU?
Well, I think I would just say to not think too narrowly about your possibilities, both in terms of being open to things that could come your way that could be really great for you, but also not eliminating choices just because you think they can't work. And I guess that's how I would package advice both to anyone and how it relates to career, which is I think you can have any major and end up in any career if you do the right things along the way. I don't think that any career limits you unless it's a really prescriptive job, but there are so few of those. You know, music majors go to medical school.
Right.
Biology students work in HR. So I just think there's a way to get anywhere you want to get to while studying something you're passionate about. So just talk to us about that.
That was deep.
Well, Monday. It's Monday, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, is that not? Is that? Yes. I'm
true.
sorry. I'm lingering on this. For a second. We're gonna
I'm happy to linger
because-
there, yeah.
I mean, that's really, I think,
true.
because you talked about it earlier too about being shown or even knowing about opportunities and options, whether it be degree programs, career paths, what's even available, right? I mean, I marvel at some of the companies that I see on our website, on your website, and I go and I research and I'm like, what is this company? And they're a multi-million or billion-dollar company, you know, and I mean, not that I'm the smartest person, but it's like, I'm shocked sometimes by the things that they do, and these are companies that are seeking our students. So to come in, a lot of times, right, we're coming in with life experience, and that may be depending on, like you said, where we're coming from, the things we've been exposed to, with certain things in mind. And it can also be a little hard to deal with when you end up not doing something that you thought I was absolutely going to do. Right? I mean, I talk about my own personal experience of my undergrads in religion, and when I was finishing my religion degree, having that realization that going to work in that area was not really something that I was going to do. It was really hard for me to adjust. It was really hard for me to think about, well, what am I going to do with my life? Because I'd gone to college and planned this whole thing out, right? And now if I'm not going to work in this environment vocationally, what does that mean for me? And I think that that's probably a lot of people.
Yeah, but there's so many transferable skills in your religion degree. Like you did comparative things, I assume, or there was speaking. I mean, there's just so many things that you could have used and then taken that somewhere else. But you're right. I mean, your identity's so in these thoughts of what you
Right, absolutely. My world was very small at that moment, and yes, and higher ed opened it up.
Yeah.
I would just say, I think, so the metaphor of don't keep, the possibility of you striking out to keep you from playing the game. And so I think that is just needs to be heard and needs to be felt. Like, we are not in the business of careers because we think it's easy. We are here because we know it can be challenging. We know it can be scary, but that's why we have opportunities like Career Exploration Night, where you can just come and listen to a panel and you can network lightly if you want to. And so it gives you, we have a lot of opportunities to dip your toe in the career pool, and then just know that we're here for you as well. So there's a lot of anxieties around figuring out kind of what you want to do, and sometimes it's not for the rest of your life. Sometimes you have multiple careers, and so just know that we want to help you do that.
I really wanted to end on this, but I think we'll see what else it brings up. To think about, we have so many people out there, and so many different. You talked about it earlier, Krista. It's such a diverse group of students here at KSU. I believe education is much more than just preparing, like for a job or for a career, right? I think we would all agree on that. But also, it is, and we go to higher education because it is something that opens doors unlike anything else can do in life. And it's such a maturing process for a young adult particularly, or somebody who's coming back for a second career or whatever it may be. It's such a unique environment that you cannot get it anywhere else. So I just want to point out to Facebook that we have incredible people like you two and your amazing staff that are here to support you out there in Facebook land. How unique that is. People look at Kennesaw State, I feel like, and I've grown up in the area and experienced this institution for a long time, and where we are now, as this really big university. But the people that work here inside this institution have made it such a small university, accessible, engaging university, and that's a lot of what you've talked about tonight. To me, it's hard to think about going somewhere else for school because you get to come to this incredible environment in Metro Atlanta, two fully functioning, awesome campuses, no matter your major, and engage with people like you two that are going to help these people out here get that job, get that first job, or prepare for graduate school, when sometimes that is absolutely what we need to be focused on, is getting people ready for what we sometimes call the real world, right? So thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
For what you do.
Thank you.
And thank y'all for being here with us tonight. If you have additional questions, please post them there on the Facebook Live chat. Anything we didn't answer, we'll definitely get to. Please go to Career Planning and Development's website. What's that website again?
Careers.kennesaw.edu.
Boom, easy as that, okay? We want to see you sign up for orientation, so if you're an accepted student out there and you're on the fence, hopefully these two wonderful individuals got you off the fence, because we're going to take care of you here at the university. We absolutely want to see you at open houses, we absolutely want to see you at campus tours, and we want to see you here this summer. So check out all the links. Thanks for coming out tonight. Now, we close with allies and a hootie hoo.
Ready.
So you ready? We're going to cross over and make the allies. And
Coordination.
Yeah.
hootie hoo!